TING open. Of course, I'm Rifkin, casting with Zombie Grub, and spawning here on the bottom left side of Dusk Towers, it's going to be the blue Terran player, Root Gaming's Kelazhur.
In the top right, as the red Terran, it's MaSa for Elevate Gaming, right?
Yeah, MaSa actually almost didn't get to play today.
Yeah.
He was late by almost 15 minutes, which kind of sucks. But luckily someone, Jon Snow actually specifically, dropped out and he got to take his spot. Now, that's unfortunate for Jon Snow, but really, really good here for MaSa.
Yeah. Imagine, that could have been Scarlet's spot.
Scarlet also could have had her own spot. But that's
yeah,
beside
well,
the point.
that's...
So,
exactly.
when you look at the brackets, of course, don't forget there's a lower bracket. The other side has a guaranteed PvZ qualifier. It's going to be Hydra versus Huck or Puck. If you wouldn't mind, could you go on Skype and just make sure Olivia knows to hold that game? I'm sure she does, but just so we can be 100% for certain. Bottom half of the bracket, though, some surprising names. You've got Violet, State, Polt, No Regret. These are 4 players I would have expected to be playing in the qualifier spots of the winners bracket, not already be knocked down to the losers. So if you guys haven't checked those out, make sure you type !brackets in chat, get a link to the challenge page, and follow the players through that we're not casting. There are a couple people streaming their own matches, Puck and Desro specifically, so you can check them out on Team Liquid if you want to see their games. Oh, pause please, asked for.
Okay.
Okay, nothing serious. By the way, Kelazhur, as good as he's playing, might be all because of a haircut. Kawaiian just tweeted a picture of him playing the qualifiers with a brand new, swanky-looking haircut.
You make jokes, but have you ever gotten a haircut after you've wanted a haircut for a long time?
Yeah, everything feels better and amazing.
It does. There's some serious, mental edge right there. It's no joke.
Regardless, it might just be the key to victory. Let's hope he can cut his hair every... Actually... I know that you mentioned this before. You've watched Boy Meets World, right?
Of course.
So there's an episode. I don't remember much about the show, frankly. It's too long ago for me. But I remember there's an episode where the older brother was getting his haircut by some really hot chick, and he kept going back to get his haircut every week because he just basically wanted her to play with his hair and stuff, right?
Okay.
And when I was young, I hated haircuts. I was so scared. I was like, scissors, and I gotta shut my eyes. The hair will get in. But now that I'm an adult, I actually 100% sympathize with that scene. I'm like, yeah, I wish my hair would grow faster so I get my haircut more often.
I just hate it because they try and talk to you. It's not as bad as when dentists try and talk to you and you're like, yeah. But I still just don't, I don't know, I don't do well with small talk. Some of them are really good at I guess they ask and they want to know about Twitch and stuff. Because I have a pretty interesting life, right?
Oh, I actually lie pretty frequently at the barbershop. It's like a personal fun game for me. They'll be like, what do you do? And I'll be like, oh, I drive trucks for a living. Oh, that's cool. I was like, yeah, I just got back from Alberta. I don't know why I do it.
Are you real?
I have no reason to do it. It's just fun. You just see how much you can get away with and see if they call bullshit on you or not.
Wow.
I think the last time I got my hair, because I cut my own hair now. Last time I did it, I was like, I'm an investment banker. They're like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, I'm not very good at it though. And I told them how I had no money.
Why I'm mostly frustrated is that they always ask me how high school's going.
Aw, well, you're so young looking, Zombie Grub.
Shut up.
Jesse.
Stop. Kill you.
Alright, the Reaper manages to get through the base. MaSa doesn't really kill much with this, but gets a pretty decent scout to see the starport timing. But more importantly, he saw the tech lab spinning on the barracks. So he knows that there's actually some emphasis here on what you flip a coin, stim or combat shields. But the point is it's not going to be Banshee with cloak.
Yeah. And that is definitely nice to know. For MaSa, sorry, he's going up to his own tank. Now adding on those extra barracks. Third command center coming down pretty quick
So is a medevac though. Let's drag on into the base. Where's Kelazhur's defenses? Okay, they're slightly out of position for this.
Ooh, this, what am I? Nope, never mind. Whoa, that was actually really cool. Kelazhur doing it on purpose? Oh, cool. I don't know if he pulled the SCV into the Marines like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was on purpose or it just happened because he's coming off, but either way, that worked out really well, and that splash damage cleaned us up instantly. Now, it's funny because we talk about a lot of North American pros that we know and love. Scarlet, Huck, State, you name it, and a lot of them seem to, for whatever reason, have MaSa be their kryptonite, and they fall to him all the time in these brackets. Kelazhur's never been a player that has been good enough for us to talk about that before. So weirdly enough, he doesn't seem to have that stigma working against him.
That is a good point. I was gonna bring up how, yeah, we don't usually. I mean, MaSa kills like all of these, or not actually kill, sends out all these really great players from tournaments, and you just never really expect it because it's like not like
This third CC gets shut down again. Are you serious? Never gonna finish.
He's such a good player. We just never expect him to always get to the qualifiers. He always does. But Kelazhur, right, is also a player we did not expect to get to the qualifiers, and to see him against MaSa doing so well so far, well, is pretty cool.
I mean, to just touch on that, it's not that we didn't expect him to do well in the qualifiers. We didn't expect him to do this well in the qualifiers. I think he's probably the safer way.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. I mean, MaSa's side of the bracket, he faced State and No Regret, which are they're definitely like super contenders. Like No Regret can sometimes just be the wild card.
He's like the North American Laser. He's the guy you just don't want to fight in the bracket.
Yeah. And State can just like has little like clever builds, you know, and some people don't like TvP, but to kill like both of the Koreans is always going to be impressive, one after the other. But anywho.
Coming back with the tanks, realize that there's some medevacs on his way. MaSa's defenses aren't too bad. He's got Marines in position. He's finally got that third CC up. I mean, God, that took a long time to finish for something that was put down so early. But there's no way that Kelazhur wants to fly into this. Don't commit, man. This is gonna be bad. Tanks in the front, medevac also quite dangerous. He can knock you on the wall. That'll be a good free kill for him here. Tanks being repositioned to make sure that doesn't happen though.
The other abusive spots, if you can't get into the main or the natural, like Kelazhur was unable to, is on just like this little edge right here. I mean, Kelazhur has stim and combat shields and 2 tanks. It's not the biggest army to abuse that ledge, but it is definitely one that can solidify the position, especially as MaSa goes down the ramp.
Why am I being classified as a sociopath for my barber stories? Damn.
I didn't want to say that, but I was like, this sounds like, you know, like stage 1 of like
I feel like if I was doing this to lie, like I think if anything it's more like secret agent training than being a sociopath. I'm not getting ready to like go murder somebody on the back end of this.
Yeah.
Like I need my barber to trust that I'm not actually a murderer because I plan to murder them in their sleep tonight.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just step 1, you know, and there's like, you know, there's a bunch of steps, so.
Wow. Okay. Kelazhur's tank count, by the way, did not falter through this. It would have been really bad if he had lost those tanks, but maintains a bit of an army supply lead. The beauty that is TvT, though, even with tank drops being what they are, you can still take positional advantages. I guess where you see a lot of people complain that the tank drops are too strong and they eliminate the whole positioning aspect, I would actually argue sometimes that actually makes them it just requires more positional attention. Like you have to keep an eye on where those medevacs are going so you can beat them to the punch. Get your tanks down first.
Yeah. I don't know these complaints that we see, like you can't you snowball too much in the new TvT, and I'm just like, I don't know, not from the TvTs that we've seen. Like it's still like very much a comeback potential.
Yeah. Ooh, loses a tank there. That's gonna be a bit unfortunate.
MaSa does have like much faster upgrades. I mean, Kelazhur's been doing so many cool things. You know, he denied the third base for a while. He's killing Miss Rax. He had that really cool SEV trick. But at the end of the day, he did get a little behind on that third base, and I guess his upgrades also fell behind too. The stim and combat shields that he got so much quicker never really played a part. And now that they're even up on that, it's going to come down to the upgrades and how the Marines are, you know, they're spread out and whatnot. Kelazhur abusing this position again is really, really good. This is the ultimate goal, I feel, of Dust Towers, but...
Ooh. Tanks being lifted like that, unfortunately get focused out immediately. Nice snipes there out of Kelazhur, but he loses a lot of his bio as a consequence to this. So, trades out a little bit here, but takes the tank advantage at the end of the day. He's going to have to pick him and leave, though, because the medevacs can just go into the dead space of said tanks.
Yeah. MaSa, you know, losing that tank immediately is like one of these things that we're just a lot of people still aren't used, I guess, 100% to the new tank drops. But I guess there was also like the give and take. Your tank might die, but then it might stop the Marines from shooting your Marines, and maybe that's what you wanted. I don't know, but I see a lot of TvTs actually just fumble the tank drop aspects. But oh well, the game is still very even. The upgrades are, yes, they're ahead, but only by 1. That is something that, like, very, very even. They both have good concaves. They both set up the tanks perfectly. Okay, the upgrade's gonna really, really matter, but does that situation happen that often? Not really. It's more like, you know, someone gets the tanks first, or better positioning, or has a bigger concave, or actually gets the doom drop off. So, it's quite quite even. I really appreciate it too. We thought Kelazhur's games versus Violet and Pult were going to be either even or like an underdog story, and it ended up being 2-0. So it's cool to see him finally, I guess, have this really long macro game.
Well, the medevac advantage is huge, very obvious, but other side of the map, the drop goes down.
Oh no, he needs that.
He really needs the +2. If you guys have not seen it, I mean, I cannot begin to tell you how important Marine upgrades are for Marine fights. It's less important when you're fighting against the tanks, but Marine versus Marine. That 2-2 lead for MaSa is actually going to be pretty big, especially as he moves on to 3-3 next.
Yeah, he might have a full 2 upgrades ahead, depending on how quickly Kelazhur replaces that engineering bay. I mean, it's pretty quick, so. The +2 for the vehicle weapons is also delayed for Kelazhur. Now, his sensor towers are definitely going to cover him from any Doom drops, and honestly, Doom drops I feel like have been less of a problem in Legacy of the Void, and that's part of the reason why I like TvT a lot more in this expansion. So it's not quite as worrisome, but obviously being able to see any medevacs go across is nice. And as they start going to a 4th base, too, I'm going to want to start having missile turrets set up.
Ooh. Tank shot's gonna be not bad here. There's the sensor tower, so he sees this coming in. There's a couple turrets. I mean, not quite gonna catch this, I don't think. Oh, actually, he will.
Yeah, he flies right into it, in fact.
Rip pepperonis. One Marine gets out. Secret agent man. Secret.
He's probably lying about his job all the time to his hairdressing.
Look, why is this? I don't. Maybe I am a sociopath because I don't see this as a bad thing.
That wasn't a sociopath thing. That was a secret agent thing. I thought you would appreciate that.
God damn it! Don't appeal to my good side. Oh, that tank lives, by the way, 6 health. That's a little unfortunate. Kelazhur feeling the sting of that lack of upgrades too, with the Marines just raining on them. Now, for Kelazhur, his position's not terrible. His army supply is still up there. His upgrades are behind, and that kind of sucks. But we've seen so many TvTs that deflect, that trade, that attack, and you can get to 3-3 from being behind. He's not that far in the grand scheme of things, unless he decides to go for a Doom drop, or even MaSa decides to go for a Doom drop and try to end it all.
Okay, this is actually kind of a hard one to call, but Kelazhur does end up getting the wider concave. Yeah. I mean, initially it looked like the tanks were going to do better, but he was a little, you know, clumped up. But at the end of the day, takes an okay fight. Still down in supply overall, though, so it might look okay now. Here comes the reinforcements.
It's a Venn diagram. Your army, my army, both of our armies.
Oh, he really shouldn't have pushed into this.
Well, it takes the first hit because the tanks shoot the Marines instead of the tanks. So now as he continues to advance forward, he does obliterate a lot of MaSa's tanks. I'm not sure this lead's going to be worth it, but there's nothing on the ground to buffer for these tanks. So unloading in the dead zone, an unsieged tank beneath this.
How much of MaSa's army is in like the Vikings and medevacs
right?
here?
I'm starting to think that 70-60 supply is not that great because it's mostly medevacs. He's got about 22 Marines. I guess they were all in the main, now coming out to the front lines.
Something like that. Of course, he also has a bit of a worker lead, so that did contribute as well. And I still am surprised Kelazhur took the tank drop, but I guess it's like that is what's so cool about the tank drops is that one person can actually be legitimately better at them, and that might look really unfair to the person who's not, but. You read situations like that, and you get away with it. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that guy can banelink split versus my banelings. That's not fair.
Well, I guess because some people still think that tank drops are actually random, which
they're not. They're definitely not. People figured it out. Like that 0.2 of unloading faster. It looks bullshit sometimes, but it's very important. I do want to know, like, MaSa's got 3-3 for the upgrades. He's been ahead on income for a very long time. So these fights out of Kelazhur, they're good, but they're not snowballing, so it's not something he wants to dedicate to. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to be forced to, but his tank spread is so nice. He's actually taking a good defensive fight on his opponent's side of the field.
Yeah, he's starting to pick up those tanks, but they do go down. I mean, MaSa had such a concave. Like, if it was only, like, half of that, Kelazhur might have taken another fight, but with the, you know, like 270 surround, it was enough for MaSa to push this back, and he's still up by about 20 army supply. The upgrades have finally, like, well, the weapon upgrades finally evened up, but the +3, of course, is still missing.
This position is hard to take back if your opponent gets on top of it, denying a lot of mining. That's why MaSa chose this base instead of this base, for the reasons that Kelazhur's feeling the burn on it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. I don't know about this.
It's not good. He's just going to flood into the side of the cliff. That will not go well.
He's going to have to give up this position. Not mining on this, if you eventually break out, can be okay.
He's moving his main over too, so he's gonna have a new base, but it's gonna be a long period of time where he's missing money and he's down about 30 supply.
Oh man, I really wish at some point Kelazhur had not pushed on top of the army, rather pushed into the main base, because he probably assumes that, like him, MaSa had a missile turret ring with that sensor tower, but there's not.
No, it's like
there's two missile turrets in the back, but that's it.
He's gonna stem away from this fight. Once again, he's gotta wait for that +3 armor to really take an even fight. Kind of a curious question coming from Chatsling. Can SUVs repair a tank in a medevac? So yes and no. When the tank is being held in siege mode under the medevac, no, you cannot target the tank to repair it, which is stupid because you should be able to. However, if there's an SCV inside a medevac on auto repair with an unsieged tank, that will actually repair the tank inside the medevac.
Oh no, he thinks he's doing so well breaking this, or just barely breaking it.
But he gives up his base. Oh, a lot of SCV is gonna get killed as well. Oh no, takes one base but loses another. The orbital, a fairly important one to lose as well because he needs those mules with the position he's in. Down about 60 supply. It's been a great game out of Kelazhur, but he's starting to really fall behind.
Yeah. I mean, he was always behind. It just looked like he was finally gaining ground for a mixture of things. Like, MaSa had units in the main base, maybe he had too many medevacs, too many SCVs, but at the end of the day, obviously, with a 40 supply lead, MaSa's looking to take this game. And that upgrade lead's still available. I guess that's a little bit of a, nice sight, is that 5th base isn't already down for MaSa. If Kelazhur had a lot more tanks, he could potentially take a pretty good fight.
Potentially. I mean, either player, if they walk into their opponent's tanks, it'll go poorly or well depending on who walks into what. But loses 2 of the tanks immediately. Kelazhur is producing 2 tanks at a time, and that's nice. But funny enough, I guess this drop not going to do a lot. Again, his command center is floated over as well. MaSa is just better situated with income. That supply gap growing every second this game goes on.
With this concave too, even with the planetary, MaSa should just be able to roll over this army.
This has been a lot more action-packed than I expected it to be as well, by the way. I expected it to be a lot more turtle play, but Kelazhur's aggression was nice early, not paying off now. He does have 3-3, so he's finally on even upgrades with his opponent. MaSa losing that auto-attack edge.
Yeah.
He is going to get some good damage on this base, start evening up a little bit, but MaSa's taking another base while this goes on.
Well, MaSa did just throw away about 15-20 Marines, so I don't even know what that was. So still a little hesitant to push in, even with a huge army supply lead. The drop at the 5th, I guess you would call it, is cleared up. And the 6th is going into mining now.
Yeah. I didn't even notice the vehicle weapon upgrades getting researched as well, so once again, getting ahead even further. MaSa with a couple of idle SCVs could definitely fix, but this is Kelazhur's really only mining base. Let's not forget the main got lifted, 3rd base is running low, natural base has 1 barely alive mineral patch. I think the problem is he's going to lose this game to just not being able to remake his army. Now, he's got less SCVs, so you would argue in the past, technically, he could supply heavier, but neither player is maxed. And you don't see a lot of 200 armies in Legacy of the Void. It's a lot more about trading. His tanks unload first, but they fire on Marines. It's MaSa's tanks that fire on Kelazhur's tanks. And this fight does not go well for Kelazhur, and this is everything for him.
Yeah, definitely when he got on top of those tanks, but a quick pickup from MaSa saves all of them, and there's his reinforcements that he's consistently been keeping in the main base. I guess that's his answer for not having a missile turret ring, but he brings them forward every single time. I don't know where that tank came from on the left side, but okay.
The unfortunate part about this for Kelazhur, he's trading well, but he's not able to reinforce behind it. That's where MaSa gets the advantage. Not
Except
sure.
for tank to get the mission.
I don't know. That was risky. He's going to lose that tank if he leaves it there. Picks it up once again. He does manage to finally get a base behind this. He lifts the other orbital from the natural base over. He's still struggling in this game. That supply gap. Oh, man. That overall supply gap, but also the army supply gap. 40 down.
Yeah. I mean, MaSa, has not been taking great fights, but he's always just had more. Always more reinforcing. If the reinforcements were with the army, I'm sure he would have taken better fights throughout the game. But this is a game that if Kelazhur loses, and he's probably going to lose, half the supply, you don't go into the second game feeling so bad about yourself. I don't remember what the second map was. They gave me the map order. I think it was Orbital and Prion, actually.
I was going to say it's probably Orbital. It's a TvT. Okay, so a bit of a stalemate here in the middle of the map, and MaSa doesn't have a base to deny over here, but he is going to be sending a couple of Marines off once he realizes that Kelazhur's mining on this base. We'll start probably seeing some drops segment around. But when it comes to denying mining at this point, I mean, the workers lost at this base is going to be irrelevant because there is a base down here that he doesn't know about. And for Kelazhur, that's very unfortunate because he's behind. He just doesn't realize how much. Almost 100 army supply, in fact, or overall supply, excuse me.
Yeah. Oof. I guess some of the blame can be on MaSa for us not ending it, but
no, he's got to play it safe. It's TvT. You can't rush into these things. I think if this was TvP and you're watching some players with like this much of a lead, you're like, why don't you just A move? But you can't do that in TvT a lot of the time. The spread's good, stutter's good. GG, well played. MaSa will take game number 1.
Maybe he spoke too soon about this MaSa, like, Kelazhur dynamic. Maybe Kelazhur's still gonna lose to MaSa.
Kelazhur, man, I don't know. I've got some faith. I got faith in the Diego. Now, again, I want to remind everybody. Oh.